Welcome to Come On Ye Spurs TV, the Afrobeat section of the Lily White Nation, a channel that talks about the passion and the glory of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club from an African perspective, reviewing the weekend's action, Tottenham Hotspur versus Crystal Palace, a new resurgent Crystal Palace with Oliver Glasner in charge. Find out more inside.
Come on, ye Spurs. Come on, ye Spurs, indeed. Welcome back. This is Come on, ye Spurs TV. Right, Chuma is back with us, and so am I, Soji. And we have this week's episode of Come on, ye Spurs TV. We are previewing the match between Tottenham and Crystal Palace at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We have a really good record against them at this stadium. I think they were the opening match when we moved to that stadium. I think we won that game, if I recall. I think it was 2-1 or 2-0. I can't remember, right?
2-1.
Yes, and that was Son was the first scorer in that match. Yes, if my memory serves me right. So yes, I'm becoming a bit of a historian now. I mean, with Chuma's influence, you know. Yeah. So welcome, Chuma. How are you?
Oh, I'm super good, fabulous. Looking forward to another weekend of football. It's kind of strange having like that long period without Spurs playing, which it was only a week, but it's a week too long not seeing Tottenham play.
I know, right? I mean, okay, we were meant to play Chelsea, and Chelsea qualified. Well, Chelsea were in the final of the League Cup against Liverpool. We'll talk about that in a different episode. But hey, we're happy with the outcome of that match. So let's just put it out there as Tottenham fans. Right. Do you want to do the honors and the housekeeping?
Yeah, why not? If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you're coming back to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell that alerts you to anytime we put out new content. Like the video for the algorithm, and as always, it's Come On Ye Spurs.
Yes, welcome. Come on, ye Spurs TV. Yes, Crystal Palace, new manager bounce. Roy Hodgson, he was a little bit ill towards the end of his tenure. I think this is the second time he's managing Crystal Palace, isn't it? Is it the second or third time? I'm not even sure.
I think he's done Crystal Palace and Fulham twice each, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so I mean, it's like
he's done Fulham twice as well. Yes.
Right. So I'm thinking, okay, he was obviously ill towards the end. He had to be hospitalized, and it kind of coincided with the fact that he'd been earmarked for replacement anyway, because there was news in the press beforehand that he was facing the chop, and we left by mutual agreements. We wish him well and wish him speedy recovery. But what that means for us is, when teams get a new manager, they always talk about this new manager bounce and the effect it has on their performance on the pitch, and everyone seems to give their all to get the manager's attention, and it always results, in most cases, in improved performances, sometimes for a short period, sometimes for a sustained period. Now, Glasner had a reputation, for playing what you might call same sort of defensive line as Kante, and it was a time when Tottenham were looking for a new manager. I think he was one of the candidates being touted by folks in the media, and I don't know how true that was, or that story was, but it was making the rounds at the time that while he was managing Frankfurt at the time, that he was being touted as one of the potential candidates, and he did quite a good job with Frankfurt, didn't he?
No, he did indeed. Oliver Glasner is an Austrian manager. A lot of people call him German, but he's actually Austrian, and he's one of those that had his start in the Austrian league and then moved over to Germany, and what he did at Eintracht Frankfurt was really, really commendable. I mean, for those Nigerian fans out there, Eintracht Frankfurt only rings true with one name, and that's JJ Okocha. And the height,
name, right? He was so good, it was named twice, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Oliver Kahn and the famous Oliver Kahn goal where he put Oliver Kahn on his backside twice, 3 times, and then scored. And those are the heady heights of Eintracht Frankfurt. They had at that time they had JJ, they had a striker called Freddy Bobic, they had Anthony Yeboah as well. So they were really good at one point, and then as a club they sort of like dropped down in levels, yo-yoed a bit between the second division and first. And Oliver Glasner sort of really came in and maintained them and won the Europa League 2 seasons back. And that was huge for him. And like you said, it plays the same kind of, well, I'd say formationally the same as Conte in a back three or back five, depending on how you look at it. 4 midfielders and so like 2 attacking midfielders behind the central striker. And and he got a lot out of his team. He was a little more attacking set than Conte was, but quite similar kind of methods, if I would say. But he was really, really good. And, we're as a Tottenham fan, you're looking forward to Roy Hodgson coming over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because that would have been a nice 3 points. But with the new manager bounce and seeing what they did last weekend, where you could actually see like the shackles were off the players and they actually did attack very well, But, what can you say? But they're still without their 2 key players, Olise and Eze. So there's hope still for Spurs, but it's a new manager bounce. Let's see what happens with that.
I don't know why you're sounding negative today. There's hope still for Spurs. Like Spurs won't trash them on the day. Come on.
No. There's hope. There's hope.
We have a chance to do well. No. Come on.
Let me correct myself. There's hope for a thrashing. When I say hope, it's not hope to win. I always go in expecting Tottenham to win. It's how big the margin would be. Sorry, my apologies to Come On You Spurs Nation. I mean, there's hope still for Spurs that we could see a nice little talk. If Roy Hodgson had come in, I would have guaranteed a tonking. This is just me. No disrespect to my Crystal Palace friends, and I have quite a few. I would expect a tonking, but now I'm like, they're going to put up a bit of a fight. So we just want the 3 points on couple of goals, clean sheet if possible.
Well, I guess the key is for us to do well and perform well on the day. Like we said, we know in this league there are no guarantees for any match. So you go into a match, you expect results, and sometimes they don't come off. A lot of times, sometimes they come off, and sometimes they don't. And Wolves is a case in point. They came and they stole the points, in my view, because it was a smash and grab. My own perspective, given the amount of possession and play we had in that match, they took the chances, very, very clinical, and we just couldn't carve out any opportunities for them. If Crystal Palace come with the same formula, which some people are saying that it sounds like Ange has been found out. How do you respond to those people who come with those sort of theories, saying, okay, fine, if people play a low block, they have a very good chance of coming away with something at Tottenham? What do you say to that?
Well, I look at what's been going on with Man City at the moment, and if you watch what's been going on with Man City are coming away with like 2-1s, 1-0s, because everyone's going ultra low block, and you're having to pass the ball around. But it's not a case of being predictable; it's a case of executing your objective the way you set it out to. And the problem is, I was listening to this wonderful podcast, The Last Word on Spurs, the other day, and they had Lee McQueen, who's one of the guests / I'll call him almost like a co-host of the podcast as well. And he was saying how, to him, it's kind of like he hasn't seen Ange ball in the last couple of games. And I replied, I actually put on the chat that no, it's existed. It's just not been prolonged. Ange ball, by his definition, is the quick movement, passing, trying to break the team, like one touch, 2 touch, and you break in and then flood the opponent's box. And I think it has been happening. Unfortunately, it's not been happening the way with the same frequency it did at the start of the season, and then sort of like that little resurgence before Christmas. We expected the new year. A lot of people expected the new year and all the people coming back from injury to make it like take it back to how it was the first 10 games. But the opposite, I think, has happened, and that's dampened people. Calls your Madisons, and now I hear Manu Solomon's training, I think, at the end of this week or so. No, Manu Solomon might be in contention probably for the Crystal Palace game or the game after. So you're looking at a lot of people coming back in, and it's not flowing as well as it should. But these 2 weeks, I really think that Ange has taken the time out to go, okay, this is our mini pre-season. So while people say that it's not been the same and we're struggling, and I don't buy that. I just think maybe the players were overthinking coming back into the formation. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Now, Bissouma. Some people say he's lost his touch, or his magic touch, if you want to call it that, since the game when he got sent off against Luton away at Kenilworth Road, and it just hasn't been seems to be the same since then. He went away to the African Nations Cup, and I came back maybe carrying a bit of a knock, because even in the African Nations Cup, he kept coming on as a sub, late sub in the last match, which tells me being a key player for Mali, I mean, you don't put him on the bench. I mean, so that was saying to me maybe it had a bit of a knock that was carrying, and it seems to have lost a little bit of confidence and that aggressive edge and that ability, what you might call, to just control that midfield, beating the press and, cutting through, advancing guys who were trying to press or beat that press. I mean, what do you think is going on there? Is it something, is it psychological, or is it just trying to get back into form, having been out of the side for a while?
Village people.
If you know, you know, right?
If you know, you know. But no, actually, I think he became a bit cautious after the sending off against Luton. I think it affected him mentally, and he tried to be too cautious. And then I think I'm trying to remember the game where he got stripped of the ball and then they scored. He tried to play his way out and he got stripped. And then Nottingham Forest knocked him again because he got the red card there as well. So after that, I think he tried to alter his game so he wouldn't get sent off, because it seemed like everyone was saying that he's a red card victim. But you can't have it both ways. There was a certain kind of confidence and freedom he was playing with that got him those red cards. So now if you strip that away, you now expect him to, to be the same guy. I still back him 1,000%. I don't think he's a 6. And for those who don't know what a 6 is the holding midfield player in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, the guy who holds, or quote unquote, the Xavi or Busquets position based on who you love amongst the two of them. And I don't think he is. I think he's actually someone who is a more forward-thinking player. But Ange came necessary in my system. It depends on if you're into Xavi or you're into Busquets, whichever of those two churches or schools you fall into of being a defensive holding midfield player. And I look at Bissouma, and I think Bissouma is way more than that. Plus, Ange in a press conference came out to say he doesn't believe in more or less positioning players or keeping players based on position. You're a midfielder, you're a defender, you're an attacker, and that's what it is. And in terms of his midfield, he doesn't see anybody as just one thing, which is kind of interesting, because now I think he has so much choice now that it's kind of trying to find a combination that works, as opposed to before when he had no choice and the combinations had to work for us to play well.
And we also have Udogie back, hopefully, and Pedro Porro also back as well, to complete that, what you might call our standard back four, if you like, How do you think we're going to line up on the day? I mean, because we've got so that is the midfield, even the front lines. I mean, you even have choices up front as well, because you have Werner, you have Son, Richarlison, you have, what's that young man's name? The young man on the right-hand side, Brennan Johnson. You have Kulusevski. Some say Kulusevski has been a little bit up and down. His form is patchy. Sometimes he does very well. Sometimes he doesn't do that great. And sometimes he's predictable. Other times he's not predictable. So it's a little bit up and down with Kulusevski. How do you think we're going to line up on Saturday? Your thoughts on that? I
would have Timo Werner, Heung-min Son as the striker. I would drop Richarlison, and I would play Brennan. My front three would be Timo Werner, Richarlison, and also drop Kulusevski. And Kulusevski is not that guy in terms of the running, and Son would be wasted on the wing there. You need someone who is pacey like Timo Werner. So we need to see Son back as the central guy right now. As much as he's so good on the wing, I think he's better against teams like Palace. Just one chance, one goal, effective.
Good. Let's have scoreline predictions. I would go for Tottenham 2 or Crystal Palace 0. What are your predictions?
I'm actually going higher than that. I
Oh,
think
really?
because of the 2 and the return of Ange Ball and the doubting, I think Tottenham might score more goals in this game. I think they'll come in with a lot of supreme confidence. They would still get a goal. I think it's 4-1 to Spurs.
Okay. I thought I was Optimus Prime, but hey, clearly someone's stolen my thunder and gone a little bit higher than me on this one. That's okay. I mean, I can live with that. So yeah. So thank you very much, guys. If you would love to hear from you and tell us what you think of a predicted, Chuma's predicted lineup, which is very difficult to argue with, but I'll probably make a few changes. But I mean, let's just leave it like that for now. Tell us what you think about the predicted lineup, and also the score line. I mean, we'd love to hear from you. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And yeah, and please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would enjoy you to do so. We need to get the numbers up. Give us a like, subscribe, and that will be absolutely fantastic. Right, Chuma, it's been absolutely great having you, and we look forward to having you on the next episode of our match reviews. But also, if you want to sort of join us at the post-match live stream where we talk about the match, do a review, and obviously all the banter, the key talking points, and also the key moments in the match. Please join us at 5:45 p.m. GMT to go over all of the match highlights. It's a very, very interactive session. I will very much look forward to seeing you there. Saturday, 5:45 p.m. Click on your bell button. You get notified that we're going live that day. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much. Chuma, thank you for coming.
Always.
Meantime, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.